Hey everybody, this is Rudy Sarzo with my podcast, The Dash. Yeah, I noticed that certain characters do not really have props like the shield or the hammer. One would be Black Widow.
Black Widow's got a bunch of props. She's got guns and her bracelets fire the discs, and like there are a couple of characters like.
Well, I just meant something like, like a hammer or something that would be
the
heavy on her.
iconic stuff. Yeah, no, Black Widow usually has some holsters and guns, and she can wear them. And so she does a lot of acrobatics, and she runs and jumps around and beats people up hand-to-hand combat. But there's some really cool upcoming stuff that you're going to see on Black Widow that's exciting.
I noticed a bit of similarity in the grandness, the magnitude of the design of the city for Black Panther as in Thor, Asgard. It was kind of like similarity to it. And a different terrain, more like a tropical terrain, and of course more of the mountainous terrain for Thor. Was that something that it was conscious to create a kind of like parallel worlds?
It was, yeah, and the idea behind Wakanda, which is Black Panther's world, was that it's set in Africa, but under this bubble has an incredibly high-tech world that they live in. And the use for Wakanda is that's where the vibranium comes from.
Yes.
To make the shield, for instance, and other great weapons that they need and they use. And so there was a sort of old school, new school thing that went on. And we say that a lot in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Old school, new school, like, Tony Stark's tech. He uses resistors to make crazy high-tech rockets. You know, it's like, it's crazy. And so we kind of played that in Wakanda a little bit.
Is that not to lose touch with some sense of reality where people that are watching it might be grounded on something, and then you don't want to give them something so way out there that they can't even relate to it?
It takes it right into the cave with Tony Stark when he was soldering his first arc reactor together to make something that then would be one of the most strongest weapons in the world. And so we sort of give the audience a whole lot of relatable information that then gives them hope for being able to figure that out on their own. Like, wow, you can use resistors and cold fusion and nuclear power to make an electromagnet that keeps the shrapnel away from Tony's heart with every breath he takes. And that shrapnel came from his original bomb in Iron Man 1. The bomb explodes, puts the shrapnel in his heart. The shrapnel is barbed, and with every breath, the shrapnel moves closer and closer to his heart. So in order to save his own life, he knew the tech and had to make his arc reactor, which is an electromagnetic device that keeps the shrapnel away from his heart. So we think of things and give it backstories like you wouldn't believe. Every prop, every costume has a backstory. Just like a character comes in, you've got a backstory to your character so that you can figure out how to act and who to be. And we do that with everything in the film. We overthink it all, and we're real precise and careful about.
Was this something that happened from the very beginning? Well, for example, when the first Iron Man, was there a vision to go beyond Iron Man, or was it just kind of like, oh, we're going to make this Iron Man movie and see what happens?
Well, I talk about my interviews a lot. I told you about J.J. Abrams' interviews. So I go into interview for Iron Man for the first time, and I sit down with Louis D'Esposito, who was the production manager on the show, who is now one of the CEOs at Marvel. And he said to me, we're going to make a movie about a guy that flies in a metal suit. And I was like, okay, yeah, another day in Hollywood. Great. Okay, sure. We'll make the movie. Here's who I am as a prop master. This is how I work. I think you'll dig me, man. So hire me to make your movie about a guy that flies in a suit. Well, while I was thinking that and saying those words, I looked over to my right and I saw a dry erase board. You know, one of those boards where you can write on it and erase it? It was real low tech, just a little board on the wall. And on that board, I looked over and I noticed it said Captain America, Captain America 2, Captain America 3, Thor, Thor 1, Thor 2, Thor 3. And there was about 20 film titles on this dry erase board while this guy was saying to me, we're going to make a movie about a guy that flies.
What year was this?
This was 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Well, it's actually 12 years ago because it took a year and a half to make the movie. And I thought, boy, that's aggressive thinking. You know, this guy just pitched me what sounded like a really silly movie. And he's got like 15 film titles on a dry erase board. Boy, I hope that works out for them. Not that it mattered to me at that point, but... and here we are 10 years later, and all those films have been made.
That's incredible.
And Marvel is like a train. I describe it like a train. And people come on the train and they get off the train. And they like the train or they don't like the train. Well, I got on that Marvel train back on Iron Man 1 and I haven't gotten off the train. And there's a handful of us that have been around that whole time. Only about 5 or 6. And that's where, and I'll take it back, that's where that trust comes from. I stayed on the train, and they know that whatever I do and whatever I say is meaningful. And they know that I'm going to protect their property. And they know that I have a passion for what I do. And so that's really where you gain your trust. When you can deliver, you know, and they know that you can deliver again. And you've experienced that your whole career. You know, you weren't sure. You weren't 100% sure the first time out on stage. No one is, I don't think.
No, as far as longevity or what.
Yeah, you don't know where it's going to go.
No.
You go out there and you do what you love to do.
You don't.
And what's the beauty of what we both do, really, is that our job is a passion. And that makes it so that it's not a job. I have a great time with what I do. When I say I'm going to work, I get in my car, in my Mercedes-Benz with a convertible, and I laugh out loud. Because in high school, I was voted most likely not to succeed. Because I was just a hippie kid that was trying to play guitar with tight jeans.
The average musician. Yeah.
Britannia jeans and a tight T-shirt, a baseball T-shirt.
Yeah.
And what then would be called a perm, big curly rocker hair. Yeah. And no one thought I was going to do anything in life. And I fell into this prop gig and I fell in love with it. And it's really not a job for me. I go out and it's my hobby.
Well, you play just like we play music. You play being in the movies. You're part of that creative, crazy process of like. There's no limit.
It's absolutely crazy.
There's no limit, but it's got to have challenges too.
Every day, I love it. I love that challenge because you tune yourself into fixing the challenge, right? To beating the challenge. Yeah. And in the first 5 years, I hope I'm doing this right. I hope I made this challenge happen. Mm-hmm. And then 30 years later, you're like, challenge? Sure. This is how you fix it. This is how you do it. You take 3 of these, you call 4 painters, and you get the welders, and you get them all together, tell them they have a week to do it, go. And so that's all in me now.
Experience and trust.
That's all it is. Yeah. It truly is that. So, there's a term they use in the film industry. I don't know if they use it everywhere else, but they say that you get so good at something, you could just phone it in. And so, really, I could pick up a phone right now and have a crazy prop made without ever having to visit all the people because I now know 120 craftsmen that I can trust. They're my band members. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know they got my back. And I know that they're gonna that the rhythm is there and the beat's gonna be there on time. And I know that when I go to pick up that prop, I might say, hey, it's a little too blue or a little too red. But they'll fix it fast for me. And it's just like tweaking a song or tweaking a lyric or whatever it is. Not very unsimilar at all. It's kind of in line with what we all do in the creative worlds.
in my career a few years ago, I thought about retiring. As a matter of fact, I took steps towards retiring, and then of course, I am not retired. But after going through that process, I feel like I can't imagine myself retired. You know, I came out of that moment in my life with the realization that the sun blazes as it sets. If you really stare at a setting sun, it's so bright, it's on fire. You know, and that's how I want to go down.
Yeah.
Out with my life into the next adventure,
yeah.
blazing. So I really can't even imagine myself not being creative, not being performing, and in some shape or form. I recall that you had retired a few years ago.
No. What I do is I threaten to retire. I have this. Your setting sun is my light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
And so my fear is that my body will give out before my mind does, and you gotta keep going. But what does go? A similar situation for me is that you're a prop guy all your life, your career life, and you think, should I become a production designer? Should I take it to the next level? Should I be designing the entire film? And I look at it, and I know I could do it. And I know all the people that trust me would give me that shot, right? And then I look at it, and I think to myself, why should I take a step down? I'm at the top of my game with what I'm doing. And if I start in a different department, I got to start at the bottom again.
Yes.
And I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
So I will retire a prop master.
Yeah.
And I might be a little different than you. I might retire one day. Just because it's...
But why?
The physical work.
Yeah.
But when I retire, my shop won't go away. See, I have a shop where I manufacture things.
Yeah, where is that at?
Right now, it's wherever I am. I call myself a gypsy filmmaker nowadays because Hollywood doesn't make big feature films anymore because there's tax incentives in other states. So right now it's in Georgia, and we've been shooting in Georgia, and we'll stay there until the incentive goes away. So my shop's in Georgia, but my shop travels wherever I go. I've got 4,000 square feet of some of the greatest tools that you can have to make props. And I always say that the guy with the best tools wins. And I have a lot of good tools. I do a lot of CNC routing and laser work and plasma cutting and 3D printing and vacuum form. All these great inventive ways of making cool props in-house. So I may retire from the set one day, not soon, by the way, but I'll always make props for people. I'll always do favors and keep it in.
And where the props after a movie's done, where are they stored?
Yeah, so they're all owned by the production company. In this case, Marvel. Has 100,000 square foot warehouse in Chatsworth.
Oh, here.
Where we store
California.
props. I've got another 20 to 40,000 square feet in Georgia, where we store all the current stuff that we need.
Yeah.
And I travel with 2 50-foot trailers full of all the essentials. If a director says, hey, I need a pencil, I got a pencil. I'm the go-to guy on set that has to say yes to everything. So my motto is, if I don't have it, it'll be on the way in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll find it and get it here within hours or the first thing next morning because of FedEx. FedEx is my friend.
Yeah.
I can get something.
They tend to destroy
overnight
musical instruments once in a while.
No, you got to have those friends out there in the world that can help you back it up.
Yeah. Just don't put it on a plane.
Right.
Don't check it in. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah. I seen some footage of you that I really recommend the listeners. Just to go and Google you, and there's going to be tons of videos of you talking and showing the props.
Yeah, there
anything
are.
from like lighters Zippo lighters. Yeah. That's such an incredible story about those.
Yeah, Zippo just recently